Okay, I did record the lecture this morning, and what we did, I haven't gotten it rendered yet because I've been gone all afternoon, but I will get that rendered tonight. But the first part of it, I'll go ahead and just to make sure we know we're all in the same week doing the same thing. But today, this week, this evening, whatever time it is, we were supposed to have finished chapter work part 1 and 2. Where's this at? Here it is. And I had one student that has lost his book is why this is actually, let me see if I can get this here. This is actually problem number 2, part A on page 192. Just trying to get it to let me put that there to part A. So this is just the problem that's on in your book on page 192. I was just trying to help out a student that probably either got his book stolen or something happened right here at the end. So here we go. This what we did this morning in class was that we talked about number 1, A and B, and we took number 1B and changed it so that it would answer problem 2, A and B. So how many of you were able to do, oops, I got on the wrong one, were able to do number 2, A and B and get it turned in? I know I haven't graded the things in chapter 5 yet. And I also posted the, there you go, the assignment 4 in here. Can't seem to get this to stay where I need it. All right, so I did, but I did, yeah, okay, Alexander, that's great. You weren't required to use functions yet. You will in the assignment 4, number 4, that we're going to talk about Thursday in class that I'll record. And we could go ahead and do that tonight if all of you all that are saying you've gotten that problems 2, A and B done. And we can look at a couple of them because the time, and just make sure everyone, oh, I know what we did not get to in class that I was supposed to do. Is this week 13 or 14? 13, completed 5. Oh, I guess we're actually on week 14. I named this conference week 13, but this is the next to last week. I better look at my calendar, because I'm getting these weeks mixed up here. This is April 29th. So this week, oh yeah, this is actually the 14th week. Okay, so next week's the 15th week, and then we'll have our final on the 13th. Okay, so this that was due last week, if there's not any questions about those, I will go ahead and upload some of the 2A and B, and we can just work on this problem together, A, because your assignment is to do the B part of it, which is down here, and that's what your assignment is for this week. And then I went ahead and posted the assignment number 4, oh sorry, the assignment number 4, which is the assignment that will have arrays and methods in it. And this one, what you'll notice in this assignment, it should be fairly simple for you because the assignment number 3, that's what this assignment is, just with a requirement of changing part of it into a function. So that will be what your final will be like too. It will be whatever your last test was on loops, and then you will be changing, or I'm sorry, is that it, loops? Yeah, loops. and it will have arrays and methods. That's what I meant to say about assignment number 4. It should have some arrays. It should have you change one part of it into an array, and then also to use a method. Oh yeah, okay, Charles, we don't, there is a way to do that, but we're not, that is not a requirement for this problem. You don't have to be able to do that, because you will actually, the array, let me see are you trying to do that in assignment number 4? Or you just wanted to know how to do that? Because that's the part of what we skipped in the textbook. Oh, for today's assignment on the Midville Park District program? Is that the one you're talking about? Last week's. 2, A and B. Is that the one? Well, we better look at that, because we don't need to pass an array on that one to a function. But I guess there would be a way that you could have solved the problem by passing an array, but it's not necessary. I'll look at what we were doing in class today and let you all, I should still have it open. There's chapter 5, 2B should be the one. See this one. First, I probably need to look at the problem, and the problem on 2A was to design the logic for a program that allows a user to enter 10 numbers, then displays each and its difference from the numeric average of the numbers entered. And one student interpreted that they should subtract the find the difference between the numeric average every time they added a number and summed it from the array. And I can see maybe that was a little confusing, but you only have to do the average one time after you fill the array and print it out, and then you have to either go back through the array. There's a couple of different ways to do it. But the part B, which is just using a sentinel value, a sentinel value, part B said to modify the program in exercise 2A so that the user can enter up to 10 numbers until a sentinel, is this the right one that I had you all do? Yes, a sentinel value is entered. So it's all you have to do is have an outer loop that will control it. Okay, so here I'm just going to show you the JavaScript. We've got the pseudocode here for B and also the logic that I can let you all see, but here's one way of solving it. The average difference, set up a variable index, sum, average, set a constant size equal to 10. Then instead of, sorry about that, moving them around, instead of initializing the array with a loop, they've chosen here to just initialize the 10 values to 0. But in our JavaScript that I'm going to show you, you will see that it's actually initializing it in a loop. Okay. So index equals 0, sum equals 0. While index is less than size, which is 10, output, enter a number for position, subindex, input, numbers, subindex, and then sum equals sum plus numbers subindex. So whatever the position in the array is, whatever, that is what's going to go into that, whatever the user enters is going to go into that slot. And then before we increase index or increment index, we need to add that to the sum. And so while the user is inputting the 10 numbers, they're also adding to a sum field or a total field here. Then when index is 11, right? Because up here, as long as index would be 10 because index has to be less than 10. So when index is 10, it will have filled the array and the sum amount will be in here. So we can say average equals sum divided by size. Index equals, we have to set index back to 0. What, can you all see why? I know it's hard for you to answer very promptly. Are y'all hearing me better tonight than last time? It was real broken up. Okay, good. All right, so this time, can anybody tell me why we have to reset index to 0 here? What is it after we do average equals sum divided by size? What is index at this point? Does anybody know? What would index be? What was it at the end of this while loop? It was what now? Okay, let's look at it. Up here, it was 0. When I enter the while loop, it's 0. So 0 is less than size. So here's what I'm gonna, let me see if I can get my little new tool that I found to be able to write over here. I think I can. Okay, so if index, let me, I'm a little slow with the mouse, but we'll get it here. Okay, so if index, yes, Christopher, it's the control for the loop. And what did Antonio say? It's the original input for the program. Yes, they are using it as the original, enter a number for a position. They are using it here. Not sure why they did it that way. Oh, because actually the name of the array is numbers. So up here, index is 0, and if they enter a position, that's correct, Christopher. If we don't come here and set index back to 0, whatever it was at the end of this loop is what it will enter. So hopefully when it gets 10 here, it's going to come back up here and test, is 10 less than, and size is 10. So is 10 less than 10? No. So when it drops out of this loop, index is 10. And so if I started this loop without initializing it again to 0, it would say while 10 is less than 10. Well, it would not even start this loop because it would drop out. So the reason I wanted to bring that up is because that will happen to you sometimes when you're working with arrays and with indexes like that. Okay, so we set it to 0. So now we're going to enter this loop while index is less than size. So 0 is less than 10. Output numbers subindex and the average minus numbers subindex. So whatever is in that first position, 0 position of the array numbers is going to be what you print out. And then you also want to print out the difference, which instead of saying they didn't initialize something called difference, which we do in the JavaScript, they just did it this way, average minus numbers sub x, and that's what's going to print out. And then they increment it, and then they go through it again. Now this was actually the 2A portion of the oops, I didn't mean to do it that way, I don't think. Yeah, there we go. Oops, what did it do? Trying to get it to let me have control again of the... All right, so I'm going to go on down. It says next, this is the to be portion of the pseudocode or the flowchart, whichever is easier for you to, because different ones prefer a different visual. Okay, so here what we've done is added this loop that says, while loop that says, while index is less than size and more numbers is equal to continue. So they've set a constant up here, a constant string, and called it more numbers and set it equal to continue. And so at the very end down here, they should be asking, wherever the input is, actually that's up here. After they go through the loop here, input numbers, sum equals sums plus number sub index, increment index, then it says it's got to have another request for input. Do you want to enter more numbers? Yes or no? And if they answer, if it's input more numbers, then it comes back around and comes here and it says is more numbers equal to continue. And until it drops out, then it goes down to average equals sum divided by size, index equals 0. So let's look at it. I'm going to go ahead and look at it in JavaScript here. If I find it again, here it is. All right, so in the JavaScript program, and so we can see if I can make sure nobody's trying to say something while we're doing this. All right, so the description is enter 10 numbers, find the average, output the difference from the average. So, wait, this isn't the right one. Let me go back to the open recent. May have been here that we just modified. Let me see if this is the one. Yeah, this is the one we... thought I saved it where we used a constant. Let me see what this one does. Yeah, this one we didn't quite finish. I may have not saved it. Let's see. 2A to B. Chapter. That's that one with the primer in it. Oh man, I know we did it. This one's pretty close. This one would work. It's not just like the pseudocode. Oh, I think this may be the one we worked on. Okay, let's, and for it to run though, I've got to fix the name of it. File, save as, because it won't run with those spaces in there. Charles, if I used, is it all right if I used for loops? Oh yeah, that's great. In a counter-controlled loops, actually a for loop is a good choice. Okay. Oh, maybe that's why I'm not finding the right one, because not here. I think it was this one. Let me cancel and go and open that one. Sorry, I didn't already have it open here. Let's see. So I went to the wrong one. Let's see. Is this the one that just opened? Oh, well, we'll try it with this one. This one is set the, instead they call it primer. I think I remember who did this one. Well, this one I know won't run because it's got this error right here. Index equals value equals. Let's see, what are you saying, Christopher? On their example, for the sentinel value, did they really need the AND logic for the first loop? Which, Christopher, are you talking about the pseudocode that we went over? Okay, no, I don't think so. I think that was one of the things I didn't like about the pseudocode. So that's why I went ahead and put it in JavaScript, and now I can't find the one that I fixed. So I was trying to come close. Let me see. I may have just not renamed it. It may still be 1B. Let's see what 1B is. Oh, yeah, I think this one. Does this have difference in it? Let me see. Yeah, this is the one that we worked on at the end. Okay, this one, what we did is we set variable equal to value. We set a constant size to 10. So you can go up and just change the value up here if you want to make your array a different size. Variable, and we just called the array scores. It could be anything. Equals new array subsize. And you all understand that this is the keywords to set up an array in memory for JavaScript. And then you can have whatever size it is here. In this case, it's a 10. Then we set up an index, a count, a sum, average, and a difference to 0. So here's what I was saying a while ago, that we could initialize the array with all the zeros like they did, or we can use this loop, which is pretty standard. And this is what Alexandra was saying when she came to class on last Thursday, is that this would be very simple to put in a function. The print routine would be very simple to put in a function, but that's not required right now. So to initialize the array, it's better to use a loop, and a for loop is fine either way, whichever you want to use. And then the thing is, when we allocate memory for an array, we don't really know what's residing out in those memories, out in the memory registers. So it may be nothing out there, but just to make sure that we know what we're starting with, then we go through and put a 0 in every one of the slots. So here I have a 10 element array, and I'm going to try to do this again where maybe I think I can do it here. I'm going to draw this 10 element array, and my drawing's much to be desired, but we will. Oh, I think I made it a little long. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So the slots are all different sides. Okay, this position 1, position 2, position 3. Oops, position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's my 10 element array, and in this case I've named this array scores. So now I need to, oops, scores. And so I'm going to go through my array. Index in the beginning is a 0. So up here I'll keep track of index. So right now index is equal to 0. And so I say, is 0 less than size? And size is 10, so I'm going to say scores sub 0 is equal to 0. So I'm going to go up here, I'm going to put a 0 in the slot. And then I'm going to increment index by 1. So now index is 1. And then I say while 1 is less than size, and it is, then score sub 1 is 0. So you can see I'm going to go through, and when I get finished, and when index is 10, then I'm going to drop out of this loop. And so when I drop out of the loop, here's where I have to go back and see. Right now I'm going to assume that index is 10. I've just skipped all those steps. And then I'm going to set index equal to 0 again. So I'm going to cross this out, and now index is 0 again. And I'm going to ask the user for a number. So I'm going to have to make a little tiny eraser here. It is tiny. Okay. So I can go in here maybe. Oh, it's too big. Ah, I was afraid of that. Okay. So I'm going, well, I'll just put a number beside it. All right, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to prompt for the number. So I'm going to say, just say that the user put a 10 in. And so now I'm going to go down here. While value is greater than 0, so what my prompt asks for a number, and value is currently 10, and index is less than size. Well, index is 0. So those two are true. So now I'm going to move down. Oh, this thing is not, yeah, it does. Let me go to mouse, but then it took my whole picture away. Maybe not. I'm hoping this helps somebody, and so I know it's taking me a little longer to do this, but I know I do this in class, and I think it was Nicole, I think that's her name, said that she, if she could see the visual, it would help her. Oh man, did it take my screen away? It did. Huh. I didn't use it right, I guess. Okay, so next what I've got is I've got index is now 0. I'm not going to draw that whole array again, I don't think. Equal to 0 again. And my value that I have right now was equal to 10. And so that's what I put in my first slot. So over here in position 0 of my array is 10. And so now I say document.writeLine index value. So I'm going to print out to the screen whatever is in scores sub index. So scores sub 0 has a 10. So I'm going to go ahead and print that out. Then index equals index plus 1. Is that, wait a minute, that's going to print out. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so then I'm going to increment the index by 1. So now index is 1. And so now I'm going to go down and say sum equals sum plus value. So sum was 0. So now sum is equal to 10. And then prompt the user for another number. So this time I'll put, let's put 20 in. And that's position 1. Okay, so now I'm going to come up to the top and say, is value greater than or equal to 0? Yes, it is. And is index less than size? Yes, index is 1, so it's still less than size. So now I would put that value, which I did it ahead of time. Here's actually where it is put into that position of the array, is when you see scores sub index equals value. Then I'm going to write out a 20 to the screen. So far my output is that I have a 10 and I have a 20 displayed. Okay, then I'm going to increment index again. So now index is 2. And then sum equals sum plus value. So now sum is 30. And so I'm going to continue until it no longer is less than size. So I'm going to put values in all the way down. And after I drop out of my loop, then's when I'm going to calculate the average, because I only need to calculate the average one time. So the average is equal to sum divided by size. And then I would need to print the array as it was entered. Actually, no, I don't. That was done up here. I've already printed the array as it was entered. Okay, so let me go back here. And now I can go down. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is I'm going to print the difference. So I'm going to execute through the array using the while loop. While count, you remember I initialized count up here to 0 and I haven't used it yet. So it's 0. So it says while 0 is less than, and when I finished this loop up here, index should be 10, right? So it says while count is less than 10. That's why I could not use index here, is because I needed another counter. So now I say while count is less than index, so the first time through, difference equals average minus scores sub 0. So there should be like a 10 in there, in that position, the way I was entering it. Then document dot write line, difference equals count equals count plus 1. Could you use the array length as well? Let's see. Could you use the array length as well? Use the array length for, oh, you mean size? Could you use size for this index? Yes, you could have done that. It was set for 10, correct. Yes, you could have used that. That would have been one way to go about it. Okay, so let's see if I don't have any more errors on here. Okay, let me close it. And make sure there's no errors. Let's see if this will run or not. I don't even know if we got to that point. I think we did. Oops. Okay, I'm going to type in a 10, so these averages will come out maybe a little bit more even. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. And then I want to enter, that should be, oh wait, I've got to enter one more, I think. And now a -1 to exit. And there it averaged and gave us the difference all the way down. Now, if you don't use all of those like multiples of 10, it's going to give you some really weird long numbers. So what some students did, I noticed, is they used that 2 fixed to 0.1 so that it wouldn't, and you can actually say 2 fixed to 0 decimal places. You can also do it that way. So that was 2B. And if you did it a different way, but your answers are correct, that's fine as long as you used arrays. That's what was important here. We weren't supposed to use functions yet. Okay, so does anyone have any questions about that problem? Okay, let's see. I can't, looks like maybe somebody did. Noam was parse and okay, certainly, Charles. Anything you looked up as a predefined function is great. And that's what he's talking about. Parse int is a predefined function. Okay, so if you don't have any more questions about that, let's see how quickly, because I don't want to be here real long, how quickly we can do part A, so you all will be able to work on B if you want to, without having to wait till Thursday. Let's see if I can find it. That problem was in Evernote. And it says, Part A, the Midville Park District maintains 5 soccer teams, as shown in the table. Design a program that accepts a player's team number and displays the player's team name. Okay, so what do you think that we're going to want to put in an array? They maintain 5 soccer teams. Design a program that accepts the team number and the name. Correct. We're going to put that in an array. And let's see. And Charles said just the team names, because what does it want to print out? That accepts a player's team number and displays the player's team name. So we're probably, let's see, how are we going to do this? Let's look at, I already have the pseudocode and flowchart, and then we can do the JavaScript if you want to from that. Okay, where's this at? That's not the one I want. Okay. Get it here. Okay, so this one was problem 2, I think. That it was. Let's see. Or no, it was further down. Let's see where the problem is here. There it is. Okay, so in this one, let's go down. Let's see if we like the way they did it. We might not like it at all the way the author said to do the pseudocode. So, let me see. Let me make this just a tiny bit larger. All right, so we've established a variable team num. Num quit equals number -1, size equals 5, because the elements in our table, there are 5. So string teams subsize equals goal getters, the 4. So they initialized it by not using a loop, just initialized it with these values. And it will go each one into the correct spot in the array called teams. Then we say enter the player's team number or quit to quit. Input the team number. While team number is not equal to quit, if team number is greater than or equal to 1 and team number is less than or equal to size, then output team number, teams, and team num -1. Okay, so else output invalid team number. End if output enter the player's team number or quit to quit, input team num. So is this going to work? So what it's saying is these are setting in positions 0 through 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Enter the team number or, so how do we know which one matches? That's what I want to know. Because if we entered a 1, okay, if team number was a 1, yeah, Antonio said the same thing. So here, let's see. So if we made team num, if they entered a 1, then while 1 is not equal to quit, which it's not, if 1 is greater than or equal to 1, and team num is less than or equal to size, which it is, then output team num, which would be 1, teams sub team num minus 1. So it'd be the 0 position. Well, that happens to be correct. Else output invalid team number and if. Enter the player's team number. Okay, so let's say that I enter a 4. So it should get shooting stars. Let's see if it does. So I come back up here. I say team num not equal to quit. No. Team num is 4, which is greater than or equal to 1. And 4 is less than or equal to size. Then output team num 4 and teams is team num minus 1. That's correct. It works. You see how that works? Okay, so let's go in. I don't want to have to type all of this, so let me see if I can at least not. I don't need all those in things. Go to there and see what happens. Okay, so in this one, let me start a new one. This is, problem number is that 5. Oh, number 3. Okay. So this one's going to be chapter 5. Oops. 3A. 1 minute. Yeah, that's the right place to save it. Nope. Let's save it here. Just in class examples. There we go. Nope. Okay, so I'm going to use that break. Probably don't need these same variables. Okay, so I need team num, I need a size, and I need, at least don't want to have to type all that in. So let's go back over here. This can be team num equals 0, size is 5, new array size. This one would be team names. If y'all see me type in something that doesn't look correct, let me know. Okay, we don't need any of this. And I don't think we need another counter. Do we need an index? If we're going, we don't need to initialize the array, so we won't need this loop. Oh, I know what I was doing. Then we can say new array team. New array. Oh, we will have to put them in there though. So we should be able to say, how do we do that? Var team names. Oops. Names Oops, that wasn't what I meant. Size. Okay, let me see. I know I'll have to change all these quotes. Like, probably would have been easier to type them, huh? Oh, it looks like maybe it's taking the others. That's weird. No. Okay, this is a little tedious, but then a semicolon. Does it like it? No, it does not. Dreamweaver does not like that. Okay, let's see. Did anybody look up how to put it as the string? And there's something wrong with that one. I do not see. It's got to have commas. Okay, oops. Let me go out to, real quick, to W3 schools. Make sure that I've got the syntax right. Let's go to arrays. Okay. Oh, I see. All right, it looks like I shouldn't have put. Look at that again. Variable card. Okay, so those names go in brackets. Let me get that right. So these names go in brackets. All right, got it. Okay, so we have this one set up where it's going to initialize. Now I'm going to go ahead and copy the rest of that in here so I don't have to flip back and forth on it. So I'm going to just so I can and I'll replace that with, oops, Command C is what I meant to do. Instead I did the opposite. Okay, so next I'm going to just put this right here and comment it. And I'm going to comment right here. Oh, I know what I need to do. Comment. Yes, oops. Asterisk. Down to. Okay, that's how you make a long comment. If you don't want just a one-line comment, you can, that means everything in between here is also a comment. Okay, so I've got, let me get all this up here where, let's see what we've got. So I don't know if I need any of this, but I can leave my prompt. Okay, so first thing I want to do is prompt, enter a team number, or I didn't set up a value up here to quit, did I? This one would say I can just leave it like that, or -1 to quit. Let's see if that works. While value is, or is that what I called it up here? No, team num. I need to change that to and change this to team num. This one to team num. Y'all just jump in here if you see me making a mistake. It's a little more difficult for y'all to help me with it when we're online, I know, and not being able to raise your hand and join in here. But if you see something that you have a question about, or that you see a better way to do it, just speak up. Okay, now here we don't need, if team num is greater than or equal to 0, is that what the while loop? Yeah, that will work, so we don't need any of this. While team num is greater than or equal to 0, then that's why. If team num, okay, I can probably use this. Okay, so my if statement, let me just go up here and get my if statement. If team num is greater than or equal to 1 and team num is less than or equal to size, document dot write line, but what do I want to write out? Team num and team name sub team num minus 1. Okay, so document dot write line team num, comma, then I can put here would go whatever that other one was, team names sub team num minus 1. Does that look right? Are you guys still with me? Everybody still with me over here? Okay. Yeah, I can't see the other part. Okay. Oh, I see you are. All right, so let's see. What do we do next? Index, we don't need to increment index. What do we need to increment? Nothing, right? Because we're going to need this again. And we don't, yeah, no sum. So this would say team num equals enter a team number or one to exit. Team num equals, okay, don't need this. Okay, what was the last part? Oh, we have to have the else output. Actually, do we need that else? Because if it's not greater than or equal to 1 and less than or equal to size, it's really not an invalid team number. We're just done, right? Or is there a time, like if they put an 8 in there? No, I guess we should put that for if they put an 8. or something larger. Oh, you think the else is an extra, or the... Yeah, because we've already asked for... Oh, the invalid number bit. Okay, let's see. So we don't really... Yeah, I don't think we need that. So here, it's going to... That's all it asked us to print out, right? Was the team number and the team name when they enter one. So that should actually... Oh, I don't know why it didn't give me an error, because... Oh, there's the curly brace. I see them on. Talk to myself, and let's see here. Okay, so we don't need this loop either, right? So that should be all we need. Does anybody see anything else before we try it? Okay, so I'm going to go up here and save file. Save. Here we go. If we had a drum roll, we'd do a drum roll. All right, enter a team number. So if it's team 1, goal setters. Ooh, we're doing good. A 4. Shooting stars. A 3. Top guns. A 2. Then we can say, let's see, a 4. Now we might want to put that invalid in there. You can put that in there in the next one if you want to. And then as soon as we enter a -1, it should drop out. And sure enough. Oh, I didn't try that, did I? That is another one. Let's run it again, because I want to see what it does with a 0. Okay, I'll just enter a couple of them, and then I'll enter a 0. Because we did not allow for that. You enter a 0. Oh, it just skips it. It should actually print out invalid or something, right? So that's why we should say else invalid number. So we probably really would want to put that logic in, but it's already 10 o'clock. So we're going to stop for tonight, and I will put this program the way we have it in the Evernote. No, because the first team, oh, it should have put the first team out. I see what you're saying. 0. Well, the reason it won't is because, look, if we put 0 in, what's our logic going to do? It's going to say, okay, 0 greater than or equal to 0. It is equal. But then when I try to print it out, it's going to say 0 minus 1. So it's going to try to print out a -1 slot, which there's not a -1 slot. So that's where it's going to mess us up. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so let's sign off for tonight, if that's okay with you guys. And I will also, this should be, I'm hoping this helps somebody like